Close your eyes and imagine yourself descending not into darkness, but into a realm where the earth itself breathes melodies, where silence is an illusion woven by the patient hands of time and stone. This is no ordinary cavern. This is Minecarts' underworld, a cathedral carved by algorithms and ancient geological whispers, where every drip of water, every shift of bedrock hums with a secret harmony. Let the weight of the surface world fall away as we slip into the shadowed embrace, where the walls themselves remember the birth of mountains and the slow dance of continents. You're not just exploring caves anymore, you're listening to the planet's heartbeat, a subterranean symphony played on instruments of basalt and ore, water and void. Feel the air thicken around you, heavy with the scent of damp minerals and distant fires, as the first echoes of this underground sonata begin to stir. Now picture the genesis of this labyrinth the moment bedrock fractures and the world divides itself. Deep below your feet, tectonic whispers ripple through the code, splitting stone with patient, algorithmic fingers. These caverns aren't merely empty spaces. They're living sculptures shaped by digital erosion, their arches and chasms composed like frozen waves in an ocean of rock. Listen closely to the walls here, every contour tells a story. Where flowing lava once retreated, it left glassy scars that catch sound like polished mirrors, reflecting whispers back upon themselves until they multiply into ghostly choruses. Nearby, water drips from stone teeth in a slow, hypnotic rhythm, nature's metronome marking time in a place where sunlight never reaches. Each droplet strikes pulled obsidian with an asterisk plink asterisk that seems to hang in the air, trembling, before echoing into the chamber's depths. These sounds aren't random, they're geological fingerprints, the residue of forces that carved this hidden world. As you drift deeper, the acoustics shift, tunnels narrow into throat-like passages that amplify the scrape of gravel underfoot, while cathedral vaulted caverns stretch so vast they swallow noise whole, leaving only a hollow resonance that vibrates in your bones. This isn't just cave generation, it's the architecture of sound, a masterpiece composed by the earth's own restless shifting. Now attune your ears to the metals, the hidden veins that pulse beneath the stone skin. Iron first. Its low, resonant thrum vibrates through bedrock like a cello's deepest note, felt more than heard, a metallic growl that sets your teeth on edge. These ancient deposits are the cave's circulatory system, humming with the memory of primordial pressures that forged them. Shift your gaze upward, and their streaks of gold thread through granite, their vibrations brighter, almost shimmering, like struck wind chimes muffled by stone. Gold sings of greed and glory. But here, buried deep, its song is softer, a tinkling counterpoint to iron's growl. Then copper, oh, copper's voice is distinct, a greenish ring that bounces between walls like a coin spun on marble, crisp and bright with youth compared to its older cousins. When water seeps near these metallic veins, the acoustics warp. Droplets hitting copper deposits ring with a bell-like purity, while iron turns the same sound muffled and somber. These ores don't just create noise, they conduct it. They're crystalline structures bending sound waves into strange, resonant patterns. Run your pickaxe along a coal seam and hear the difference, a dull, organic crunch that dies quickly, leaving no echo. But strike a copper vein, and the note lingers, reverberating through connected tunnels as if the entire cave system were tuning itself to a single, shimmering pitch. This is ore resonance, the metallic choir of the underworld, each mineral singing the song of its creation. But the symphony grows stranger as shadows lengthen. Those distant moans weaving through stalactites, are they the wind, or something older, hungrier, zombies? Buried alive in suffocating pockets of dirt, their guttural groans distorted by layers of stone until they dissolve into static, a white noise that prickles the back of your neck. These aren't mere mop sounds. They're the cave's subconscious, the primal dread given voice, farther off. The rhythmic asterisk talk asterisk of skeleton arrows embedding in stone, a percussive beat that syncs with your own pulse. It's hypnotic, this staccato pattern, like a geologist's hammer tapping for echoes, mapping voids through sound. Even creepers contribute to the score. Their fuse hiss becomes the serpentine whisper of methane seeping from coal seams, a sound duplicated so perfectly by nature that you question which terror is real. Spiders click and skitter in the darkness, their legs echoing like falling pebbles, a reminder that in these depths, every noise might be predator or prey. These creatures don't just inhabit the caves, they become part of their acoustics, their struggles and motions feeding the invisible orchestra. A cave with no mobs feels sterile, silent in a way that aches. It's their restless presence that completes the sonic tapestry, merging biology with geology, until you can't tell where the stone's lament ends and the mob's begins. Feel the pressure change now, the sudden density in the air as you enter a colossal void. These are the cave's lungs, caverns so immense they alter the physics of sound. Here, echoes take seconds to return, stretched into Doppler-shifted wails that mimic howling wind. Yet there is no whine, no draft, no breath, only the illusion woven by scale. Your torch flickers silently, but your ears swear they hear gales rushing through unseen fissures. This is darkness amplified, where the absence of light heightens every auditory trick. The void doesn't just absorb sound, it warps it. A dropped pebble doesn't clatter. It falls, swallowed, until a faint asterisk click asterisk resurfaces from impossible distances, making you doubt direction, depth, even your own senses. Such voids are nature's echo chambers, sculpted by hands of groundwater erosion, their smooth walls reflecting noise with eerie precision. Sometimes, deep in these swallowing spaces, you'll hear a low drone in for sound below human hearing, yet felt as vibration in your ribs. It's the cave itself settling, continents shifting grain by grain. A bass note from the mantle that reminds you this entire world is alive, restless, and singing. You stand at the epicenter of a geological lullaby, where every noise is a cipher waiting to be decoded, the dripping water telling of aquifers above, the metallic hum hinting at riches hidden deeper still, the groan of mobs a reminder that life persists even here, in the stone womb of the earth. So light no torches for a moment. Stand still. Listen, the cave is speaking not in words, but in vibrations, in echoes, in the language of rock and time. It sings of its birth, its slow death, its hidden treasures and forgotten chambers. It sings, and if you're patient, if you're quiet, you might just learn its oldest, darkest, most beautiful tune. The air hangs thick and still as you descend into the earth's forgotten wounds, the cold stone swallowing the last traces of daylight overhead until only the weight of darkness remains. Your footsteps whisper against gravel-strewn floors, each shift of pebbles fracturing the silence like cracks spreading through thin ice. And in that first breathless pause, the mind reveals its true voice, not the roaring clamor of industry you might expect from tales of its prime, but something far subtler, far more haunted. Listen closely now. Lean into the blackness, pressing against your shoulders, and let the walls tell their stories in hushed tones, for this labyrinth remembers every chisel strike, every flickering torch. Every groan of burdened wood echoes woven into the very bedrock like ghostly embroidery waiting to unravel at the slightest provocation. It begins not with a sound, but with the asterisk lack asterisk in absence so profound it pulls at your ears like a vacuum, that heavy stillness making your own pulse thunder in response. Until you realize the silence isn't empty at all. Faint at first, almost mistakable for tinnitus, comes a rhythmic asterisk clink, 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 asterisk dull, distant, yet unmistakably metallic. A sound your bones recognize before your mind can name it, pickaxes, or rather, the phantom memory of them. These walls have absorbed millennia of impacts, layers of strikes from stone tools to iron to diamond, edged steel, and now, in their abandonment, they breathe those rhythms back into the void. Each resonant asterisk clink asterisk a spectral fingerprint left by miners long gone. You'll swear you hear the grunt of exertion beside you, the rasp of rough hands gripping splintered wood. Feel the vibration of phantom swings shuddering through the rock beneath your boots, except when you whirl, torch raised. There's nothing but shadows dancing mockingly across time-smooth cobblestone. The mind rebels against such silence, fabricating companions in the dark. But this is different. The tempo shifts, sometimes frantic. hacking blows like a miner fleeing cave-ins or creeper hisses. Other times slow, meditative, almost mournful, as if the stone itself regrets yielding its riches. Stand here long enough, fingertips brushing the pockmarked walls, and you might catch the faintest reverberation of laughter or a curse swallowed by the earth. But the mind plays tricks with time. Another sound seeps through the pickaxe ghosts, a dry, papery rustle, like autumn leaves skittering over tombstone. Except here in the damp underground, that brittle whisper can only be one thing. Torch crackles, or what's left of them, move toward the source, boots crunching on long-cooled cinders. And you'll find a wall scarred by soot lines where flames once danced a torch bracket now holding nothing but cobwebs and that persistent phantom hiss. Coal seams burned out centuries ago still seem to exhale their last breath here, producing sporadic spurts of noise like a serpent's warning, sharp, sibilant, gone as soon as your breath catches. Peer closer, and the scorch marks seem to pulse faintly, as if the embers retreated. Asterisk into asterisk the stone, smoldering in some mineral purgatory. It stirs primal unease. This sound fire is life in the depths, and its absence sings of desolation. The darkness feels hungrier here, gnawing at the edges of your light, as if resentful of the warmth that once held it at bay. Now, a new rhythm joins the tapestry, deeper, metallic, groaning like the bones of the earth settling. Turn your ear to the rust-scabbed rails underfoot, and you'll feel it before you hear it. A tremor, almost subliminal, thrumming through the iron, decades or centuries ago. Minecarts rattled these tracks, laden with glittering ore or redstone dust, and their passage etched itself into the rails like grooves in a record. Now, without wheels to grind them silent, the rails sing on. Touch one cold and gritty under your palm, and a low harmonic hum vibrates up your arm, resonating in your molars. Somewhere down the tunnel, a sagging support beam shifts, and suddenly the air quivers with the unmistakable clatter of wheels on rails, not a full-throated roar, but a juddering, disjointed echo, like a train heard through a fractured mirror. Follow it. The tunnel bends, ceiling dripping with condensation that flinks into stagnant pools, and they're a skeleton of a mining operation. Rotting wooden carts, their iron wheels fused to the tracks by rust, tilt precariously where they were abandoned mid-crisis. Perhaps a cave-in blocked the path ahead. Perhaps the miners fled some unseen horror. Now chains dangle from the cart's broken brakes, swaying in unseen currents, each clinking link tapping out a discordant melody. One chain swings wider, creaking on a rusted pivot, and for a heartbeat, it sounds like a mournful bell tolling deep underground, a sound that doesn't belong, that mirrors the hollow pang in your chest. This is grief given voice, the lamentive industry rendered obsolete, and then you smell it old wood. Sodden and splitting ahead, half sunken in stagnant water, sits a chest. Its hinges are green with verdigris, its oak planks swollen and warped, yet it persists, guarding its mysteries against time's gnawing. This close, the silence thickens again. That vacuum pull returning until a groan shivers through the wood, not the groan of weight settling, but something eerily deliberate. Beside it, another chest lid shifts a fraction, releasing a puff of dust that dances in your torchlight, accompanied by a muffled asterisk clink asterisk from within. Like glass vials clicking together, you step closer, hand outstretched, but freeze. No wind stirs this deep. No creature skitters in the dark. And yet, the chest murmurs. Creaks build like whispers, urgent susurrations without source. The sound of phantom hands rifling through long-looted compartments, searching for something they'll never find. The air chills. That asterisk CLINKING asterisk again, sharper now, rhythmic, mocking almost like coins being counted by invisible fingers, treasure, or teeth. You'll never know. These chests guard their secrets jealously, their timbers infused with the greed and desperation of those who sealed them, replaying their final moments in endless, whispered loops. A draft snakes through the tunnel then, fall with the reek of wet rot and something older ozone and crushed rock. It wraps around you, carrying with it a medley of the mind's symphony, a staccato pickaxe ghost, a hiss of dead coal, the shudder of rails, the prison break creak of a chest lid straining against phantom locks. The darkness seems to lean in, patient and oppressive, as if savoring your unease. You become hyper-aware of your own breath, your heartbeat, temporary noises in a place where sound outlives flesh. These echoes aren't mere acoustics. They're memories etched into matter, the mind's way of remembering the hands that carved it, the lives that depended on it, the inevitable moment when the veins ran dry and the drills fell silent. Turn your torch toward a side passage, and the beam catches something glinting, a discarded iron pickaxe head, swallowed by rust, its handle rotted to pulp. Kneel, and the stone beneath it feels warmer, humming with the fever dream intensity of 10,000 vanished strikes. Farther down, past collapsed tunnels murdering with subterranean streams, you'll find pockets where the air itself seems petrified. Stalactites weeping mineral tears onto what might be bones or just oddly shaped rocks. Here, the sounds blur into a dissonant choir. A pickaxe's ghost tries to drown out a chest's wail, a minecart's shatter argues with the hiss of dead torches. It's overwhelming, nauseating, the mind's history collapsing in on itself, all its tragedies playing at once. Stumble back, boots skidding on loose shale, and your shoulder slams into a support beam, and the world erupts. From every direction at once, a cacophony of echoes unleashed. Pickaxes swing furious volleys, minecarts shriek down invisible tracks, chest lids slam like gunshots, torches roar to life in 1,000 simultaneous bursts. The noise is physical, a wave that punches the breath from your lungs, pins you against the shuddering wall as the mind convulses with the full force of its buried rage, its grief, its asterisk memory asterisk. Just as suddenly, it cuts off. Silence slams down, heavier than before, broken only by the skitter of pebbles dislodged from the ceiling and the low, fading laughter, not human. Not anything you want to name. As you flee toward distant pinpricks of daylight, the tunnel behind seems to exhale a final, resigned sigh that carries the wordless burden of all abandoned places. You'll reach the surface, lungs burning, eyes stinging in the sudden sun. But the mind's song follows you, not in your ears, but in your bones. In the quiet moments that follow, you'll hear it, the faintest asterisk tink asterisk of a pickaxe striking stone, the sigh of a chest settling, a distant rails hum. And you'll know deep where reason fears to tread that the mind isn't dead. It's dreaming, and in those dreams, it's still being carved, still echoing with voices, still waiting for footsteps that will never return. Imagine descending through layers of liquid shadow where sunlight surrenders to the eternal embrace of water. Filled caverns and alien symphony resonating through corridors sculpted by millennia. A patient erosion where every ripple carries secrets folded into its arc. The acoustics here defy terrestrial logic, creating a soundscape both hauntingly beautiful and profoundly unsettling. Feel the weight of liquid silence pressing against your eardrums before the first delicate asterisk ping asterisk of a bubble detaching from a submerged stalactite shatters the illusion of stillness. It rises in a slow motion ballet, trailing silver pearls behind it, each one a tiny lens warping the distorted glow of your headlamp as it ascends. That singular bubble becomes a chorus as thousands follow, crowding the water column like reverse rain, each fragile sphere exploding against the cavern's ceiling with a sound akin to champagne glasses tapped by phantom hands, a crystalline percussion that scatters echoes down branching tunnels where darkness swallows the light whole. These chambers breathe sound, swallowing whispers, amplifying fragments of noise into bewildering new forms. Lean into the current, drift deeper toward a labyrinth of stone arteries where distant tunnels resonate with something metallic and natural, a humming vibration that warps and bends like taffy stretched thin by distance. They're just at the bleeding edge of hearing a tremor pulses through the water, not organic, not mechanical, but something older. The ghost of a drowned trident, same tip scraping obsidian, as underground currents drag it relentlessly across stone. Listen as the weapon's vibration pitches upward when swept toward you by some unseen surge, then deepens mournfully. As the flow reclaims it, hauling it backward, the Doppler effect transforming a mundane scrape into a warped aria, a metallic whale song echoing through these liquid cathedrals until the sound phrase into indistinct murmurs absorbed by the ever-thirsty stone. But water isn't the only sculptor here. Shift your focus to the cavern's softer embrace, where clay banks slump like sleeping giants along submerged ledges, their surfaces pockmarked by the languid dance of underwater eddies. Press a palm against this sediment and feel the resonant thrum of the earth itself, a tactile bassline vibrating up your bones as your fingers sink into these, releasing trapped gases in a chorus of wet squelches that mimic the sound of 1,000 damp kisses. This mud remembers every disturbance. The slow motion collapse of an overhang, the skittering panic of blind shrimp fleeing your light, the ceaseless kneading of currents against its yielding flesh. Now wade closer to that jagged obsidian divide ahead, a wall so polished it reflects your distorted silhouette like a funhouse mirror, and behind it, buried in the ink-thick water, comes the muffled asterisk WHUMP dash. WHUMP dash WHUMP asterisk of guardian lasers cycling in some long forgotten defense grid, their lethal energy diffused by stone into a subcutaneous throb that vibrates your molars. Its sound felt more than heard, a basso profundo hum prickling the skin, warning of mechanisms older than memory lurking just beyond perception. The clay drinks these frequencies, regurgitating them as guttural pops and sighs, turning the barrier into a living membrane pulsing with secrets better left undisturbed. Deeper still, where rock gives way to remnants of a forgotten reef, the water grows warmer, carrying the spectral spice of long dead coral polyps, a necropolis of calcified branches reaching upward like skeletal fingers frozen mid-grasp. Brush against one, and it groans, a cavernous creak that shivers through the entire structure, as if the reef itself were an enormous wooden ship straining against storm swells. These dead colonies resonate at frequencies that lure sound into traps. The liquid sigh of a current squeezing through narrow canyons becomes a mournful cello bow dragged across frayed strings, while the flutter of a tropical fish's fins a motion near. Silent in open water amplifies tenfold as it darts between stone channels, becoming a rapid-fire castanet click that bounces between petrified sponges and brain coral till the origin drowns in reverberation. Here, sound ripples, bends, and folds. A flicker of movement in your periphery could be a parrotfish nibbling algae, but the asterisk snap dash crunch asterisk, it generates ricochets like a gunshot through the ossified forest, turning every ear prick into visceral alarm. Close your eyes and you'll swear the reef is breathing, inhaling currents through 1,000 bony throats, exhaling whisper dirges for the sunlight it hasn't tasted in eons. At the nadir of this aquatic labyrinth lies architecture, structures too precise, too angular to be born of nature's chaotic hand. Prismarini blocks slick with algae-formed ziggurats swallowed by the abyss, their surfaces etched with glyphs that drum beneath your fingertips when you dare to touch them. This is where sound distills into something heavier, older, a subsonic drone seeping from the very pores of the monument, throbbing like the hum of a starship's idle engine buried beneath the ocean floor. Follow that vibration to its source. A conduit embedded in the crumbling altar, its glowing core emitting frequencies that bypass your ears entirely, instead vibrating your sternum, your spine, the fluid in your inner ear, until vertigo threatens to upend your balance. This is the cavern's heartbeat, the pulse around which all other acoustics orbit. Even the skitter of cave spiders along these ancient corridors warps under its influence, their needle. Legged footsteps, typically sharp and brittle, now smear into liquid asterisk BLOOPS asterisk as water pressure and the monument's resonant field stretch. Each tick into a rubbery drip, as if the spiders dance across the surface of a drumhead stretched taut across reality itself. Swirls of disturbed silt hang like exclamation points around their paths, the trails shimmering with harmonic after images long after the creatures vanish into shadow. Now drift surrender to the current as it carries you through this waterlogged orchestra, past stone flutes singing in mineral. Rich drips past sediment, drums beaten by restless crustaceans, through groves of fossilized coral harps strummed by the hands of invisible tides. Every bubble burst, every grain of silt settling every distant grinded stone against stone layers into a composition older than mankind, a reverberating fingerprint left by the Earth's submerged lungs. This is no place for permanence. Sound blooms, lives, and dies here in microseconds, shape-shifting with each reflection, each refraction, each encounter with porous stone or yielding clay. But in that transience lies magic, a fleeting symphony composed of equal parts physics and phantasm, water and wonder, darkness and dazzling acoustic alchemy. So hold your breath both literally and metaphorically, and let the liquid vibrations rewrite your understanding of silence, because in these flooded halls, stillness is merely sound waiting to be born. Imagine standing at the edge of a moonlit forest where shadows twist into unfamiliar shapes. The air itself seems to breathe with latent tension, a chorus of unseen life humming just beneath the surface of silence. This is where our journey begins. Not with the clang of swords or crackle of explosions, but in the hidden language of Minecarts' ambient soundscape, a realm where every groan, hiss, flap, and rumble has been warped and woven into something deeper, stranger, infinitely more hypnotic. Listen closely as we descend into this auditory labyrinth, where the familiar cries of hostile mobs become haunting symphonies, where passive creatures compose rhythmic lullabies, where the nether whispers through dimensional walls, and ancient things stir in the deep dark with vibrations felt in your bones rather than heard by your ears. The world you thought you knew unravels here, replaced by a cryptic chorus waiting to pull you under. Begin with the hostile sleepwalkers, those nocturnal wanderers whose very presence once signaled danger, now transformed into something almost meditative. Picture the zombies' guttural groans slowed a thousandfold. Stretch like taffy across time until it unravels into a basso profundo drone so deep it vibrates your ribcage, a subterranean hum that conjures images of forgotten caves where stalactites drip melodies into echoing voids. This isn't the sound of mindless hunger anymore. It's the heartbeat of the earth itself, primordial and patient, inviting you to lose yourself in its resonance. Then comes the creeper, no longer a sharp hiss of impending doom, but a serpentine sigh drawn out into atmospheric white noise, like static from a dead television channel bleeding into reality. It wraps around you like mist, this sound a veil of distortion that erases sharp edges from the world, blurring torchlight into smudges of gold and turning jagged cliffs into softened silhouettes together. These transformed threats create a paradoxical serenity, their once terrifying frequencies now lulling you into a trance where danger and peace entwine like vines. But just as you adjust to this eerie chorus, the passive soundscapes emerge gentler, yet no less strange. Bats flutter through pitch. Black caverns, their wing beats untethered from the frenzy of flight, each flap isolated and slowed to mirror the arrhythmic cadence of a dying heartbeat. Asterisk thud, 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 asterisk a pulse without a body, echoing through hollow stone corridors as if the caves themselves possess fragile, faltering life. It's unsettling at first, this irregular rhythm tapping against your eardrums, but soon it becomes a lifeline in the dark, a reminder that even emptiness has a tempo. Then, something softer. The delicate asterisk pop dash fizz asterisk of glow squid ink particles transformed into a soundscape of bubble wrap therapy. Each tiny burst is a pressurized release, like miniature balloons vanishing in reverse or carbonation rising through obsidian water. Playful yet calming. This aquatic ASMR turns the ocean floor into a playground for your senses, where tension dissolves with every effervescent whisper. These passive sounds stitch themselves into the fabric of your awareness, no longer background noise, but essential threads in the tapestry of the wild. Yet tranquility in Minecraft is a fragile illusion, shattered by the thrum of nether intrusions, dimensional leaks where the fiery underworld bleeds into the overworld. First, muffled piglin bartering, their guttural chitters and gold-clinking exchanges filtered through invisible barriers, warped into cryptic transmissions, as if overheard from a dream. You catch fractured phrases, grunts that might be numbers, snuffles that could be prices, a black market operating just beyond reality's veil, their commerce distorted into avant-garde poetry. Then, beneath it all, the bass resonance of magma cube gems intruding from adjacent biomes, a subsonic asterisk hump asterisk that hits your diaphragm before your ears. Each gelatinous impact sends shockwaves through bedrock, reverberating up your spine, like the footfalls of some colossal beast pacing just out of sight. These sonic breaches blur the line between dimensions, making the air feel thin, strained as if reality could tear open at any moment, spilling netherrack and fire into your peaceful meadow. And when your nerves fray from these subtle invasions, the deepest layer calls ancient guardians, speaking in frequencies designed to bypass ears entirely. The warden's chest vibrations manifest as pressure more than sound, tectonic shifts condensed into human form, reverberations that resonate in your teeth, your sternum, the fluid of your inner ear. You don't asterisk here asterisk the warden. You asterisk oscillate asterisk with it, your body becoming an unwilling tuning fork attuned to its seismic rage. Then, lower still the subharmonic growls of deep dark entities, sounds so profoundly low they exist at the threshold of perception, felt as primal dread in your gut. These are the voices of bedrock itself, guttural and grinding, speaking a language older than stone, older than light. Your breath hitches, your skin prickles. In their presence, you realize how small you are, how these sonic titans could unravel your sanity with vibrations that predate the concept of ears to hear them. As we rise from the depths and emerge back into muted daylight, the world feels altered, charged with hidden meaning. Every rustle of leaves, every distant howl, carries the ghost of these transformed sounds. The cryptic chorus never truly ends. It lingers in the edges of your perception, inviting you to listen deeper, to mine the ambient layers beneath the surface chaos. This is minecarts, secret music and ever-evolving opus where terror and tranquility dance in shadow, waiting for those brave enough to press their ears against the hum of the universe itself. So next time you pause in a forest or brave a cave, remember, the true magic isn't in the treasures you dig up, but in the symphony buried in silence. Let it envelop you, let it unmake you. The chorus is singing. Are you ready to disappear into its depths? Imagine, if you will, stepping into a world where the concept of moonlight has been erased entirely, a place so devoid of light that your eyes never truly adjust, leaving you suspended in an ink-black void where even the memory of stars feels like a distant dream. This is the domain of eternal night shift, where darkness isn't an absence but a living, breathing entity that curls around you like smoke, reshaping your senses until sound becomes your only compass, your only tether to reality. Down here, in these endless caverns, your mind begins to unravel in eerie harmony with the environment. The silence isn't silent at all, but a dense tapestry of whispers, clicks, and phantom vibrations that coil around your thoughts until you question what's real and what's conjured by the deprivation of light. Close your eyes though, it makes no difference, and listen to the way the air seems to vibrate with invisible wings, fluttering just beyond your shoulder. A sensation so vivid you could swear the elusive phantoms of the overworld have followed you down. Yet when you spin around, torch held high, there's nothing, no glowing eyes, no skeletal silhouettes, only the echo of leathery beats that weren't there. A cruel auditory mirage born from a brain starved of visual cues. This is the first trick of the eternal dark. It amplifies the insignificant until the scrape of a boot heel becomes a landslide, the drip of water a thunderclap, and the rustle of your own sleeve the skittering of claws on stone. You begin to understand why seasoned miners speak of cave madness, a creeping unease that slithers into your psyche as the darkness strips away your bearings, leaving you stranded in an ocean of sound with no shore in sight. Now lean into the deeper hum vibrating through the bedrock beneath your feet, a low, resonant thrum that seems to pulse in time with your own heartbeat. This is the overture of ancient machinery, the ghostly orchestra of redstone circuits abandoned centuries ago by miners who fled or fell victim to the depths. Follow the sound through twisting tunnels, your fingertips grazing rough stone walls as the hum crescendos into a mechanical purse. Somewhere ahead lies a colossal farm, its pistons frozen mid-motion, its hoppers clogged with rotten wheat, yet its redstone heart still beating, still whispering secrets of automated harvests left incomplete. Stand before a broken piston clock, its rhythm fractured into a rhythmic stutters asterisk click-clack. Click-click asterisk like a dying insect dragging its carapace across copper wiring. Touch the rusted metal and feel the residual warmth of endless, futile cycles. The machines, unaware their masters are long gone, forever trapped in their final loop like insects in amber. The symphony of decay surrounds you, grinding gears choked with lichen, conveyor belts sagging under phantom loads, dispenso arrows clattering in their chambers like teeth chattering in the cold. These are the songs of industry in limbo, singing of productivity without purpose, movement without meaning, each clank and whore a love letter to obsolescence. Deeper still, where the air grows thick with the scent of primordial stone, a new layer of sound emerges, not mechanical, but organic, as if the earth itself is groaning under its own weight. Press your ear to a seam of deep slate coal, and listen, truly listen to the low, drowsy throb emanating from its glittering veins. It's the sound of trapped combustion, of potential energy simmering for millennia, a frequency so deep it vibrates your molars. The coal isn't dead, not here. It's dreaming of flame, humming a combustible lullaby only subwoofers could fully translate. Shift your gaze lower, to the hellish glow of ancient debris poking through basalt, and strain your ears for the almost imperceptible asterisk ping asterisk resonating from its metallic core. It's not a sound you hear so much as feel in your bone marrow, distress signal cast in sub-bass. A diamond-tipped drill crying out from the mantle's edge, each pulse sharper and colder than the last. This is the language of ores, a geological Morse code transmitted through resonance, each mineral singing its unique signature into the void. Gold chimes with greedy brightness. Iron thrums with martial discipline, and lapis lazuli. Lapis hums with something like sentience, a celestial choir trapped in powdered stone. But just as your mind begins to sync with the underground's rhythmic heartbeat, a new sound fractures the darkness, a mournful hull spiraling down from distant surface shafts, so faint it might be imagined. Yet its echo lingers, morphing into the chirp of waking birds, the rustle of wine through grass, the distant asterisk clank asterisk of a villager resetting a tradesman's bell. Up above, dawn is breaking, the world turning golden and green, but down here, in the caves without cycles, these sounds are ghosts, leaking through cracks in reality like light through tomb walls. They herald the surface's shift, change the wolves retreating to forests, sunburned miners descending ladders, the day's first creeper detonations, but in the eternal night shift. These echoes warp into something mournful and surreal. For 20 minutes, exactly one full day-night cycle filtered through miles of stone, the cave's ambient soundtrack evolves. Water drips faster, zombie groans sharpen into clarity. Cave vines hiss like radio static tuning between stations. It's the illusion of dawn underground, a fleeting crescendo that fades as suddenly as it arrived, leaving you once more in the primordial hum. And herein lies the cruel beauty of the unlit depths. Just as you grasp the rhythm, the labyrinth resets, the sounds rearrange, and you're a novice once more, ears straining against the perfect dark. So you press onward, a wanderer in a sonata composed by the earth itself. Each step a note in an endless nocturne where the shadows don't just conceal the world, they become it. The caves breathe, the machines dream, the minerals sing, and you are both audience and instrument. A vibration trembling through the eternal night shift. Imagine yourself descending deep underground, pickaxe in hand, torchlight flickering against jagged stone walls, but this time close your eyes and truly listen as the cavern exhales its whispered secrets through the physics of sound. That faint whistle teasing your ears isn't just random noise, it's a symphony composed by the earth itself, where every twist in the bedrock conducts invisible vibrations with precise intention. Picture squeezing through a 1 block wide ravine, shoulders scraping against moss-draped stone as an otherworldly breeze curls past your face. This isn't ordinary wind, but a rushing river of air funneled through geological corridors so narrow they accelerate it into phantom gales. Hear that distant rumble swelling into unsettling closeness before suddenly falling silent as your minicart hurtles through serpentine tunnels. That Doppler shift warping iron wheels into spectral cries isn't mere reverb, it's architecture tricking time itself, squeezing sound like an accordion as space compresses around you. Narrow passages become natural wind instruments, howling where cracks angle just so, sighing where smooth basalt ribbons guide guests into whispers older than the first player who ever dared dig deep, each twist a conductor's baton shaping turbulence into mournful flutes or shrieking violins carved by algorithm rather than artisan. Then emerge from confinement into a void beyond torchlights, reach a dripstone cathedral soaring into obsidian black emptiness where water droplets ping against stalagmites in metronomic purity. Your gasp echoes back thrice folded, layered over itself like ghostly choir voices suspended in honey-thick air. This is nature's concert hall with acoustics so mathematically sublime they mirror Gothic cathedrals but forged without human hands. Stalactites descend like petrified organ pipes, each resonant frequency tuned by mineral density and gravitational patience over millennia of digital erosion. When lava hisses somewhere in volcanic depths, those limestone teeth hum in sympathetic vibration-based notes shivering through your boots as though the planet itself is chanting subterranean hymns. Run your sword along the hanging dagger formation and marvel as harmonic overtones bloom crystalline in the gloom. This is Earth's forgotten orchestra pit where gravity composes symphonies with nothing but water, stone, and relentless dripping time turned liquid. Abandoned mineshafts offer a different music, decaying timbers groaning under Ian's loneliness to create a rhythmic percussion that quickens your pulse. Wood remembers weight. These beams sag beneath memories of carts long buried, creaking protestations like arthritic bones whenever bedrock shifts. Lean close to cobwebs veiling collapsed tunnel strands tremble not from invisible spiders, but infrasound resonances from unseen lava falls leaks below, vibrating silk into organic glow. Past filters that muffle screams into muffled laments before they reach your ears. These are percussive spaces trapped in perpetual decay, where broken tracks form accidental xylophones when stray gravel trickles down inclined planks clink clink, clattering into patterns so rhythmically intricate they feel composed rather than random, as though the mineshaft retains muscle memory of laborers past tapping codes through rusted rails. Journey lower. Still past aquifers weeping through porous rock into basalt deltas where obsidian monoliths rise like gnast teeth from seething lava lakes. Here, bubbles burst magma membranes with liquid fire pops, mortar shell percussion booming across glass, smooth stone amphitheaters carved by forgotten eruptions. Lava flows become drumheads stretched over endless marching columns of volcanic pillars, measured footfalls fading into the molten roar. Stand between perfect hexagonal formations and clap once. Sound fractures into kaleidoscopic echoes ricocheting through geometric honeycombs that scatter waveforms like prismatic light. This is geology as sound engineer diffusers dispersing energy into fractal chaos until your voice dissolves into thermal whispers swallowed whole by the underworld's incendiary breath. Each cave system isn't just terrain, it's an instrument awaiting discovery, teaching us that true immersion isn't merely graphics or mechanics, but vibrational truth resonating through bedrock bones into our very marrow, reminding us that even virtual worlds sing with laws older than code. Imagine it's 3 a.m. and you're curled up in the flickering glow of your screen, fingers dancing across the keyboard in a world made of pixels, and dreams a place where hostile mobs roam shadowy forests and treasure glitters deep within labyrinthine caves. But something unusual happens tonight. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing slows, and the controller slips gently from your hands as the game itself seems to tuck you in. This isn't an accident. It's by design a symphony of sonic engineering woven into the fabric of the game world to cradle your mind into sleep. Behind every rustling leaf, every distant drip of water, and every hauntingly soft melody lies an intricate web of sound design principles so precise they blur the line between science and sorcery. Let's wander together into this hidden realm of sleep engineering, where sound isn't just background noise but a carefully crafted lullaby. Picture a dense forest at night in-game, the air thick with the murmur of white noise, but this isn't any ordinary static. Close your eyes and listen deeper. You'll notice the rustling never quite repeats, shifting like wind through branches in an endless, organic dance. This isn't a loop track, it's an algorithm breathing life into the silence, generating ambient textures procedurally so your subconscious never catches the seams. Underneath it all pulses a frequency of 11.146 Hz, a subliminal rhythm tuned to the alpha-theta boundary of your brainwaves, nudging your nervous system toward tranquility without you ever knowing it's there. It whispers to your neurons, asterisk slow. Down, let go, drift away, asterisk, a digital lullaby composed in a language older than language itself. But what about the danger lurking in the shadows? Those hostile mobs with their guttural growls and bone-chilling screeches, how do they fit into this sleep-inducing soundscape? Here's where the magic of dynamic range compression works its subtle alchemy. When your character sits idle, crouched by a campfire or gazing at the stars, the game's audio engine softens the edges of those aggressive sounds, those jagged, jarring roars are gently wrapped in layers of ambient warmth, like wrapping a scream in velvet. And for those unexpected moments of sudden explosion, a clap of thunder and auto-ducking system acts like a sonic guardian, dipping the volume of the shockwave just enough to spare your nervous system from jolting awake. It's the difference between a door slamming and a pillow gently muffling the noise, a safety net woven from code and compassion. Now, step deeper into the world. Into a cave system where every footfall echoes with uncanny realism. The dripping water doesn't just come from somewhere, it trickles from the left, bounces off a stalactite to your right, and pools in a puddle behind you. This isn't stereo sound, it's binaural sorcery. Recordings made with microphones shaped like human ears capture the way sound bends around skulls and curls into ear canals, then replicate it through stereo panning so precise you could swear you're standing in that damp, echoing chamber. Even the flutter of bat wings overhead is mapped in 3 dimensions using head-related transfer functions HRTF, a mathematical model of how sound reaches your eardrums from every angle. It tricks your brain into believing the game's world isn't around you, it's asterisk inside asterisk you. A whispered echo of primal spaces your ancestors once sheltered in. But the true secret weapon of sleep engineering lies in the whispers of ASMR, the delicate triggers hidden in plain sight. Take the act of mining ore. The crisp asterisk crack asterisk of pickaxe meeting stone isn't just a sound effect. It's a meticulously designed texture. Audio engineers sampled real rocks being split, layered them with the crunch of gravel and the shiver of crystalline vibrations, then tuned the attack and decay of each strike to evoke that tingle down your spine. Water droplets, too, are timed with inhuman precision. They don't fall at random. Their rhythm syncs to the theta waves associated with light sleep, each asterisk plink asterisk acting like a metronome for your subconscious, guiding your thoughts into a slow, meandering stream. All these elements conspire in a delicate ballet, the non-repeating white noise cradling your alertness, the compressed threats dissolving into harmless murmurs, the binaural echoes wrapping you in a cave's cool embrace, and the ASMR textures teasing your brain into tingling submission. It's a paradox, a game designed to keep you playing, yet filled with sounds engineered to lull you into rest. The next time you find yourself nodding off mid-quest, remember it's not exhaustion, it's artistry. A team of sonic architects pored over oscilloscopes and brainwave charts, tweaked frequencies by fractions of hertz, and sculpted silence into something alive, all to gift you the rarest treasure of the digital age, sleep, coaxed from the heart of a world built to keep you awake. So lean back, let the sounds carry you, and know that somewhere in the code, a lullaby is playing just for you. Imagine stepping into the profound stillness of a cave in Minecraft, that first moment when the surface world falls away and you're enveloped in a silence so deep it feels like a living thing, a vacuum where even your thoughts seem to echo. Now close your eyes and picture a real world cavern far beneath rolling hills or jagged mountains, slick with condensation, where the air itself hums with stories written in stone over millions of years. Both places share a name, both are caves, but their silences tell wildly different tales, one sculpted by silicon and code, the other shaped by the earth's restless groaning. Let's descend together into these echoing chambers and explore how the absence of sound is never truly empty. It's a canvas painted with whispers of creation, human and geological alike, in Minecraft's digital bedrock. The silence tastes curated, almost intentional, like a museum exhibit sealed behind glass. There's no thrum of tectonic plates grinding far below, no shiver of continents in slow-motion collisions that make real caves breathe with geological anxiety. The game's bedrock layer is static, frozen, a flawless floor that never shifts, no subsonic groans of rock stressed beyond endurance, no crackles of microfractures spider-webbing through stone. Instead, the game designers conjure unease through mob vibrations, a hissing creeper's fuse, a skeleton's bone rattle, the wet squelch of slimes in dark corners. These aren't earth sounds. They're replacements, like substituting a violinist for a thunderstorm. Minecraft's cave silence is haunted not by the planet's memory, but by the ghosts of code, where real caverns remind you the ground is alive. Minecrafts remind you that something is always watching. Now drop into a limestone cave in the Appalachian Mountains, where the walls sweat with age and the quiet presses against your eardrums like a physical weight. Here, silence means something primal, the absence of life, yes, but also the presence of time itself. You might press your palm to the damp rock and feel or imagine you feel the subliminal purr of plates shifting miles below, the baseline of earthquakes unborn. That vibrational hum is the planet's heartbeat, a frequency Minecraft erases with the precision of an architect sanitizing blueprints. By omitting tectonic whispers, the game crafts a different kind of tension, clean, controlled, where fear is programmed and predictable instead of cosmic and ancient. What fills that void? The staccato rhythm of pickaxes on ore, the synthetic reverb of water droplets falling through pixelated are not an imitation of geology, but a translation, like turning a mountain range into sheet music. Deeper still, past the dripstones and glow lichen, lies another layer of silence, microbial, invisible, yet deafening in its absence. Real caves simmer with the sounds of life you'll never hear. Bacterial colonies digesting minerals with chemical pops. Fungal hyphae boring through limestone with microscopic scrapes that, multiplied by trillions, create a subliminal white noise-like static between radio stations. Stand in Carlsbad caverns at midnight, lights off, and you'll swear the darkness itself vibrates with the hum of digestion. Of stone being eaten alive over epochs, Minecraft answers this with sly approximation slime blocks that jiggle with wet, squishing footsteps. Warped forests where mycelium carpets pulse with soft, alien chimes. These aren't attempts at realism, they're metaphors. Playful nods to the idea that caves aren't sterile, but teeming. Slimes become the bacterial symphony compressed into bouncy green jelly. Mycelium's eerie notes stand in for the silent creep of fungi. The game's caves don't sound alive, they sound designed, like a jazz musician riffing on a symphony score. But then atmospheric pressure, that invisible force that shapes silence in ways both visceral and subliminal. In a real cave, air density wraps around you like wet gauze, thickening as you descend, bending sound into strange shapes. A single footfall cracks like a whip down passageways. Voices warp into gravelly distortions, smeared by reverb that chemists could measure but poets could never capture. Minecraft mimics this. Acoustically, how the deeper you tunnel, the more ambient sounds stretch and blur as if filtered through wool. The splash of water in an underground lake grows hollow, vast, amplifying the loneliness. Yet the game spares us in for sound, those sub 20 Hz frequencies, real caves exhale frequencies that vibrate your sternum, trigger vertigo, whisper panic into your lizard brain. Infrasound is the reason cavers sometimes feel watched despite solitude. It's the Earth's fingerprint on human unease. Minecraft's silence strips this away, giving players the awe without the dread, the grandeur without the primal shiver. And here we collide with the human presence paradox, the silent self. In real caves, your own noise drowns the world. The rasp of breath, the crunch of boots on scree, the drum of your pulse in your ears when you pause, reminding you that you're an intrusion in a mineral womb. Minecraft inverts this. Your avatar breathes nothing, moves without wrestle or thud, leaving digital space pristine. That intentional erasure, removing the sound of self, does something profound. It dissolves the barrier between player and environment, making you feel not like a body in a cave but a ghost haunting one, freed from the clumsy soundtrack of existence. Ever notice how tool durability warnings, those metallic pings when your pickaxe nears death, are softened into near melodic chimes? They float just below conscious awareness, more intuition than alarm, keeping immersion unbroken. Real-life gear failures scream snapped ropes, cracked helmets, hissing oxygen tanks, but Minecraft polishes stress into ambience. Now linger here with me in this thought space between pixels and limestone. Stand at the junction where both caves meet in the mind's ear, one built of algorithms, the other of compressed ash and fossilized seas. Minecraft's caves carve silence into comfort, every hum drip, and has a crafted signpost saying adventure or danger, never a knowable mystery. Real cavern silence is older than language, a roar of absence that strips anthropocentrism bare. The game lets us colonize quiet. Reality reminds us quiet colonizes us. Both are beautiful, lies one coded, one geological about our place in the dark. So next block you mine, next chasm you leap. Listen, really listen to what's not there. Hear the omissions, the terrifying. Titanic heartbeat of the planet swapped for creeper spores. The microbial buzz traded for slime pop lullabies. Minecarts' silence is a lullaby. Earth's is a requiem. And between them echoes the question, do caves in games mimic reality? Or do they become sanctuaries from it, a place where silence, for once, doesn't threaten to swallow us whole?